What's up, good people? I'm just Major. You saw the title. You like their Marjorie. We're here to talk about it. Are credit cards and banks under duress because of buy now, pay later? Let's check it out.
The consumer use of buy now, pay later continues to grow.
Many consumers in all segments are using it. It's become pretty ubiquitous on online shopping, at checkout, and also is offered in many stores.
Buy now, pay later plans are changing consumer spending habits by allowing purchases to be split into short-term, typically interest-free installments, offering an alternative to credit cards.
Credit isn't new. Credit's been around for thousands of years, and credit cards aren't new, but they've had a hard time adapting to consumers' needs. I think the thing that we're seeing in the industry right now is widespread adoption of alternatives to credit cards.
Buy now, pay later was kind of created for people who either didn't want to use credit cards or didn't have a lot of open to buy on their credit cards.
We think there's a huge opportunity to disrupt the credit card industry in the US.
One of the largest buy now, pay later players, Klarna, saw its stock pop 15% during its public trading debut. Beyond the direct challenge that buy now, pay later loans pose to credit cards, big banks and financial institutions have other reasons to be cautious of consumers who use these plans, especially as the number of users continue to grow. In 2024, an estimated 86.5 million Americans used buy now, pay later loans.
Oh, they've constantly been growing since 21. 49 million up to a projected 105 million in 2028. Right now they're at 91.5 million. Wow. So I'm wondering if the people that are using this system are pretty much doing away with credit cards altogether for the most part. All right.
And the number could rise to 91.5 million in 2025.
Buy now, pay later to date represents a giant black hole in the credit profile and their understanding of consumer credit quality.
When any new product gets introduced into the marketplace, there's skepticism, there's uncertainty. Credit cards and banks and others want to protect their own products as well. And so we're in that transition time.
So what's behind the rise of buy now, pay later loans? And why are traditional lenders like banks and credit card companies wary of them?
Typically, when people think of buy now, pay later, they think about the pay in four model, where you pay a quarter of the price up front.
Think about layaway. Y'all remember that? Yeah, y'all too young to remember layaway.
And then you have 3 installments every 2 weeks to pay off the remainder.
They're essentially a short-term financing tool at point of sale.
They'll see a button, a Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, PayPal, or others. It specifically states you can pay for this product using one of these payment platforms.
The number of buy now, pay later loans originated in the US by the top 5 lenders grew from 16.8 million in 2019 to 180 million in 2021, a 970% increase. And a recent LendingTree survey found that nearly half of Americans have used a buy now, pay later service like Affirm or Klarna at least once, including 11% that have used the service at least 6 times.
Buy now, pay later loans are appealing to consumers because they offer accessible, affordable, convenient forms of credit. Their approval rate is around 80% typically for consumers who are requesting these at point of checkout. That's
Wow, an approval rate of nearly 80%. So I'm wondering too, are they running your credit history like on the spot or something? Man, it's pretty interesting.
notably higher approval rate than many traditional credit products.
Approval is instant, which makes the process extremely quick and very frictionless.
Buy now, pay later is proving to be especially popular with younger consumers. One survey found that half of those under 40 have used an installment plan.
The younger consumer in particular, shopping online, is looking for alternatives to pay differently. And products like Affirm extend flexible, controllable, and certain financing.
There's an audience here in the US called self-aware avoiders. These are people who have actually slightly better income. They try the credit card. They say, it's the product of the devil. I ended up in debt. And they just had enough of it. They don't want to use it. What they want is fixed installments, 0% interest, clear budgeting tool, clears to use. And it's 20% of the American households in that group.
Unlike credit card companies, which earn most of their revenue from interest charges, buy now pay later providers rely primarily on fees charged to merchants. Retailers, meanwhile, have increasingly embraced buy now pay later financing services to boost sales.
Stores like buy now, pay later because people tend to spend more. It makes the prices look cheaper if you're only paying a quarter of the price up front.
It allows people to make purchases that aren't going to fit into their typical budget or their existing financial means and spread out financing that purchase over time. So it's all about increasing checkouts and increasing the size of that shopping cart at checkout.
Banks have both honorable and less honorable reasons for being leery of buy now, pay later loans.
How do you think about the sort of buy now, pay later and all of the sort of fintech companies that have come on that effectively are trying to compete away some of the more classic legacy businesses?
It's competition. It's competition in lending. There's competition in the deposit space.
Every purchase that gets financed through buy now, pay later is a purchase that could have been financed through a credit card or a checking account that they offer that now will not be. So it reduces card transaction activity, utilization. Those are major revenue drivers.
They make a lot of money off of credit cards. And if people are shifting away from credit cards and towards other products, then that's not going to make banks happy.
Credit card companies make the bulk of their money from interest payments. Around 80% of credit card profits come from interest charges, while late and other fees make up most of the remaining 20%. And a recent report found that credit card companies charge consumers a record $130 billion in interest and fees in 2022.
Wait a minute. Credit card users paid $130 billion in fees, interest, and in 1 year? Man, that is insane. 130 billion.
Well, that interest is not going to be paid to the incumbent financial institution when it could have been had the purchase been made on a credit card with that incumbent financial institution. Now it's going to be going to a third party.
As consumers put fewer and fewer transactions on the credit card, that means their balance is getting less utilized and the potential for that fee revenue, that interest revenue goes down.
The US is a credit card market that is pretty rich with rewards for folks that have good credit scores and incomes and large credit limits. And that's not really what buy now, pay later is designed for. It's designed for people who are not quite in that level, might be kind of a mid-prime credit score, not as much open to buy on their credit cards.
The size of the consumer credit industry writ large is enormous. There's over $1.2 trillion of revolving credit balances in the US.
Wait a minute. Credit card debt reaches 1.21 trillion, in line with last year's all-time high. 1.21 trillion. My heavens.
And over $5 trillion in consumer credit transactions in the United States. Those numbers are just so enormous. So here at Affirm, we're focused on chipping away at as much of that as we can, with a pretty clear understanding that it's not going to change overnight.
You're introducing competition into the marketplace. A lot of folks cannot get credit from banks, especially for small dollar short-term lending products. And so I would assume part of their negative attitude towards it is because it is a competitive threat to them.
Buy now, pay later loans represent a significant gap in the puzzle of a consumer's financial life because the majority of buy now, pay later loans are not reported to a credit bureau in any fashion, meaning either the application or the payment activity. Lenders really don't know how extended consumers might be on their credit obligations on a month-to-month basis.
When banks are looking at your risk to assess whether to make a loan to you, they want to know what debt you have. If buy now, pay later debt is not showing up on credit reports or is not reflected in credit scores, the banks may not have a complete picture of all the debt you have, all the payments you have, and whether you're struggling or not, or have the capacity to take on another loan.
Ultimately, that means they have to be more conservative. They're going to tighten up approval criteria and lend to fewer consumers. They're going to tighten up credit lines and maybe increase interest rates.
In fact, a 2023 Consumer Financial Protection Bureau report found that buy now, pay later users on average tend to have lower credit scores, higher credit card balances, and were much more likely to be highly indebted than non-users.
People who use buy now, pay later tend to be financially fragile. They tend to have more debt. Many of them will miss payments. And so if you are taking out buy now, pay later loans, that may be an indication that you're maxed out on your credit card or that you're struggling to pay for something in full.
Industry-wide, there may be signs that buy now, pay later borrowers are increasingly falling behind on their loan payments, with 41% reporting they were late on one of their loans in the past year, up from 34% just a year ago. And Affirm, which earlier this year became the first major buy now, pay later provider to share all consumer data with credit bureaus, said it uses machine learning models to achieve better credit outcomes.
We're able to extend credit responsibly to consumers who can and will repay without charging them late fees, without trapping them into revolving debt, even though their FICO scores may be lower.
Some experts say the current credit scoring models are not well designed for buy now, pay later loans.
Up until now, it looked like you took out 3 or 4 different buy now, pay later loans. Even though you were responsibly paying it back on time consistently, it looked like you were maxing out your credit, which was scored negatively or has been to date scored as a negative.
They are more built around credit cards and a longer type of loan. So it's not clear it could even ever help your credit, but it certainly could hurt if you don't pay it off.
There's still some things that need to be worked out by both the credit bureaus and the scoring companies to ensure that it doesn't harm your credit.
Most consumers at Affirm pay back loans, pay them back on time, even make prepayments. And that positive repayment information we think is a really important part of any future credit reporting system. And we're highly invested in making sure the industry figures this out.
We are seeing a lot of evolution in the impact of buy now, pay later on credit reports. The credit bureaus are struggling with how to incorporate it, how to make sure that it accurately reflects whether people are struggling or not, that it doesn't unfairly punish people who simply use buy now, pay later but can afford it, while also accurately reflecting risk.
FICO, for its part, recently announced it will roll out a new credit scoring model this fall that will factor in buy now, pay later loans. But even with the new model, questions remain on whether existing buy now, pay later companies will consent to providing the necessary data of their customers.
If ultimately this proves to be a detriment or a disincentive to customers using buy now, pay later, you can bet they're going to pull their data out of those scores.
Several traditional banks and lenders, including Chase, Citi, and American Express, have launched their own buy now, pay later offerings in recent years to better compete in the space. CNBC reached out to all 3 institutions to participate in this report, but did not hear back in time for publication.
Hopefully, if you're using their credit product, in their view, you will consolidate that activity just with them. The question is, can they deliver that same experience that consumers are falling in love with from the buy now, pay later innovators and lenders that are out in the market?
I think you're going to just start to see the opening up of payments and the ability of consumers to pick the journey in which they want to do, whether that be in the pay-in-for product, whether that be installment loans, whether that be in credit cards. You're going to start to see this coming together of the various industries and each one offering the product and then letting the consumers decide as to what payment journey they want to take.
There is so much consumer credit consumption in the United States today. We view all that as a chance for us to offer better, honest financial products. I think we're just getting started.
All right, we're going to stop it right there. Man, buy now, pay later, layaway. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. Are the banks in trouble? Are you up on the credit cards? Are you running it up on your credit cards? Running it up. Let me know in the comments, man. I'll holler at y'all a little later. That's going to be it. I'm just Major. 3 million subscribers loading.